Hello class, welcome to lecture 23, and in this lecture we're going to look at a comprehensive list of some of the characteristics and features that we look for on, say, a synoptic scale setup and a sounding if we're going to diagnose a particular severe weather hazard, whether that be tornado, strong wind, hail, and to some extent flooding. So that's going to be the main topic for this particular lecture, but before we get into that, we do have to define what exactly we mean by a severe thunderstorm or by severe weather. So that's what we're going to do in this first segment, and then after this first segment, we will actually start getting into the looking at some of the ingredients or the features that we look for in the atmosphere when, say, predicting tornadoes, which will be the topic of the second segment. So first off, let's go ahead and define what exactly we mean by severe weather. In the United States, the National Weather Service has defined a severe thunderstorm or severe weather as being one, two, or all of the following. That is a tornado. Tornado is considered to be severe weather. And straight line winds of at least 50 knots, 58 miles per hour, which is usually the threshold for some degree of tree or property damage. So it's a minimum wind speed that would be required to potentially cause damage to property and also cause bodily harm, although you can get damaging winds that cause damage as low as 30 or 40 miles per hour, depending on what exactly they're subjected to. So there's certain structures like an outdoor stage which are vulnerable to winds that are weaker than 60 miles per hour. But a thunderstorm has to be severe. In order for a thunderstorm to be severe, it has to be producing winds of at least 58 miles per hour. And also in the United States, this is a criterion that has changed. In 2007, I believe, it used to be penny-sized hail, which is 3/4 inch hail. But since then, they've adopted a minimum hail size of at least 1 inch in diameter for a thunderstorm to be severe. And one thing that should also be pointed out is that the criterion laid out here tends to vary pretty widely as you go from country to country. I believe in Canada, the minimum threshold for hail to be a severe thunderstorm is still 3/4 of an inch in diameter. And there are some countries I believe it's in Europe, that any size hail is considered to be a severe thunderstorm. So as you go from country to country, there's going to be different classifications or different criteria for what qualifies as severe weather. And one thing that also should be pointed out is that sometimes rainfall rates are a factor in determining whether you're going to have severe weather. So the potential for flooding might be a potential criterion for determining if a thunderstorm is severe or not. In the United States, flooding is not considered to be part of the criteria for severe thunderstorms. So in the United States, at least, the National Weather Service defines as a severe thunderstorm as producing one, two, or all of the following here. Flooding is not considered in the United States, but it can be flooding potential is not considered in the United States for severe thunderstorms, but it can be a criteria in other countries. And also, as part of the definitions in the United States, significant severe weather is taking a look at these three criteria and setting thresholds for values that are particularly impactful. So in the case of the National Weather Service, we define significant tornado as being a tornado that's at least EF2, so a strong to violent tornado. And straight line wind threshold comes up to about 73 miles per hour or 65 knots, which is roughly hurricane strength. So a hurricane strength straight line wind gust would be considered a significant severe wind gust. And then significant severe hail would be considered hail that is at least 2 inches in diameter, which is considerably more capable of causing damage to property. 1 inch diameter hail, usually the damage is restricted to vehicles, to denting the body of the vehicle. Sometimes you can get damage to the body of the vehicle with hail a little bit smaller than that. Once you get to around 2 inches in diameter, that's where the risk for bodily injury goes up significantly, as well as the risk for more significant damage to roofs and also to vehicles. But that's just sort of get a bearing on what exactly we mean by severe weather. And as promised, in the next several segments, we will take a look at a fairly comprehensive list of criteria that we look for, or features that we look for in the atmosphere for diagnosing severe weather threats. So with that, I will see you all in the next segment.